Hey Leo, this is your reading for the month of July. The way I like to do this is I start with tarot cards. I'm actually kind of changing the way I'm doing things compared to before. So if you're used to before, this is going to be a little bit different. I do tarot cards. I'll do an energy check first. A little bit different, I think, than other people do it, though. I'm not sure. This is the way I've been feeling to do it. Energy check first, and then kind of an action plan for the month of July. And then oracle cards as guided from there. But I do start off with letting you know a vision I had during my meditation time beforehand. Also, this is a general reading, so this may not resonate for everyone. So take what resonates, leave the rest. I'll put in the description below all the different decks I'm using, as well as I'll put a site in there where you can look up your birth chart and for free, basically understand more so the different signs and the different planet positions in your chart. This is for Leo, but Leo sun, but it's also, sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Mars, or Venus can all resonate for if you have Leo in that position. Also, if you have Leo in that position. However, sun, moon, rising is like the most prominent, but a lot of times like Venus and Mercury and things like that in Leo can also, if you have that position, it can, this reading can be beneficial for you. With that said, I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anything? So let's get started. So the vision I had for you was basically, it was like lace fingertip gloves. So instead of like fingerless gloves, it's like these gloves that are like just fingertips, but they're lace. And they were either like a white color or a light color. Like the focus wasn't that they were white, just that it was a light color. And I didn't see, you weren't doing anything specific with them. That wasn't the focus. It was just the fact that that's what, and again, I mean, you could be the one wearing them, or it could just be that concept and the analogy that's going to come from that. So let's get started into the cards first, and we'll go from there. And so the energies, I'm going to pull with this. So Spirit, God, Universe, what message do you have for Leo for the month of July? What's the energies they're dealing with, especially in regards to the vision you gave so far? What do they need to hear as far as their energies? What's going on with them for the month of July? With them, and then the energies that they're dealing with. You'll see, I'll structure it away. So so we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna do 2 here. Oh, that's such a beautiful card. And then 3 or 4 here. 3 works. Okay, 3 here. So basically what it is this is what you're coming in with, and this is what you're starting to encounter, whether that's within yourself or outside of yourself. And I don't do reversals. And the energies around you, or someone you're dealing with. We'll see what it is. So this is a star card, and Celtic owl, which is in this deck symbolizes like the hangman. 2 of spirals, which is the 2 of wands in this deck. And then, so here's 2 wands. don't remember if I showed that already. I was thinking about all these other ones. Then this is equivalent of 3 of Swords, and then 5 of Cups in this deck. So it's interesting. You're coming with this hope. You know, the star is just like a hope, but it feels like it's a hope of giving. So like maybe you are growing, or like planting grains, I guess maybe. Growing your hope as you share it with others. Or just you have that energy of that desire to, you know, share this with others, to share something you've worked on, maybe a project. It doesn't have to be, but in regards, sorry, excuse me. But regardless, you know, you've got the Hangman here, which is, you know, it's like a peace in yourself, and, you know, coming to this nirvana despite, you know, any kind of thing going on around you, getting to this place to where your safe space is in yourself and going to that place. It's interesting though. I feel like she's sharing that. So it's like, as you do that, you grow this peace in you more and more. And then, but as you grow this more and more, you give more and more. So it's like this cycle, this energy that you're in of just spreading your light, literally, like learning more and more about yourself and loving yourself more and more. And as you do that, you share it, and it's not even like, some of you might not be in actively sharing it per se, but just you radiate it and it shines and it like leads and guides others. So it sounds like, I mean, it's a really good energy that you're coming from, or that you're in right now, and for the month of July. 2 of Wands, a lot of times it's surveying options, trying to, you know, come to a decision, but it's not so much in your head, just, you know, looking, okay, what are the options I'm working with here? I do feel like with this specific card and the spirals and the nests, it might feel like some of those options might feel homey. It's almost like the 7 of Cups normally in the regular Rider-Waite-Smith deck, where it's like, you know, you kind of can sometimes, well, in that one, normally it's like you can empathize with certain options. So after a while, it's kind of hard to make your choice. Sometimes you connect with them. You know, you have this emotional connection with the options. However, this I feel like is more like you can go down this spiral, this journey in each option. So you might be looking at different choices, or not choices, but, you know, different options, you know, what's presenting itself. It's starting to present themselves to you, and you're just seeing like each one is this path forward that you can go, and you have this energy to take that path forward. Also the 3 of Scrolls, so it's like 3 of Swords, and I mean, you can see this tier here. I feel like some of you, it's this idea of like creating a mountain out of your pain, out of your sadness, out of what you've dealt with. And not necessarily as an obstacle, like not in a bad way, but it's just like being like, okay, I'm going to use that and I'm going to step on top of it and get past this. However, in doing that, you're like, I really get the sense that you're looking at people, you're looking at others, or you're coming to a position or to an energy where you're going to be called in this month of July to really, I want to say tap in, but like connect to others, like be honest in yourself, be honest in the pains you've been through, and the fact that you're going over it, you're stepping over it, you're rising above it. So it's not like, oh, you're just in denial that you didn't do it, or, oh, that's all gone and that's good and I'm good and I don't, but literally like where you're coming to is partially because of the strength you've had to rise above it. It's not, let's just completely act like there was nothing wrong in the first place, you know? So it's really a beautiful card, actually, like for this purpose, what you're coming to. So it's like, in doing that, I feel like that allows you to see these different options more clearly, these different pathways. And this might be part of your pathways. Like one can be, okay, well, do I look at it this way? And then another one can be like, you know, 5 of Cups, where it's like, or do I look at this as a grief hole that I could just get stuck in, where it's like, you know, 5 of Cups is a matter of like, normally it's, you know, this idea of, you know, you have different cups that are poured or, you know, emptied, and then some that are still standing. And it's the idea that like you can sometimes get stuck in focusing on the negative. And I feel like instead this is like, I mean, especially the Five of Mirrors here, like the way it's showing, it's like, again, it's like this. It's like, you know, this is birthing you. You're being birthed out of that pain, out of that stuff as like a new flower, a new growth. However, there is an element that you might not see those individual petals. You might not see, like as you're standing on this, you might not really fathom and see what this all is in the moment, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you don't need to reconnect to your pain so much. However, it's a place of power to not minimize is the word, maybe? Minimize or deny that you ever had that pain, that loss. So some of you guys might be going through a loss. And it can be like a loss of a person in your life, you know, someone might have, or just a loss in a position. Some of you might be dealing with a breakup, a divorce, anything like that. And it's just this idea of recreating yourself after that, you know, emerging in that and making the conscious choice of knowing that this is either rising up and going forward and looking forward, but really like getting in touch, like being honest with what you've dealt with. And this is that same thing, but it's like, I don't know. I really feel like for some of you guys, it is a matter of like, okay, well, do I just go up forward and not pay attention and not say like that I've been in this dark place? Or do I go to a different place of climbing up, yet still being like, wow, look what I've come from? And like really maybe sharing your story. This is, I mean, scrolls is, you know, swords and okay, so there's two scenarios here. This is swords and verbal, and this is, you know, emotional. So it's like you're taking these things as you speak your truth. You're like learning and growing and healing there. That's one, you know, group of you guys can be doing that. The other groups of you, it's a matter of, okay, well, which one is it? Is it I go forward and allow myself to bloom and sometimes be okay with not really seeing, you know, where things have been and where I've come from anymore and just go forward? Or do I focus on getting my story out and healing through that? So I think a lot of you guys are literally just looking at, what am I doing here? Like, what path do I take? What's going to be the most fruit? What can I fit little birdies in? You know, it's like if you have children, okay, what works for your path, what works for your family, you know, going forward. But also even if you don't have children and it's just like a creative thing, like if you're trying to birth new creations of yourself or from yourself or projects, it's like, which one of these can actually fit that? What can I do? Like, what's fitting that? And then going back to the fingerless gloves, it's like, it's this idea of like, because gloves are supposed to protect your hands. And when you have, not fingerless, I mean fingered, like finger only gloves, fingertip gloves. But gloves are supposed to protect your hands. And if you have them fingerless, it's so that like you can touch specific things and, you know, or sometimes like as a fashion thing. But if it's like fingertips, it's like protecting your fingertips. It makes me think of like fingertips, like to touch something, you use your fingertips to touch. That's the most sensitive part of your hands to like figure out, to really process what it is you're touching, to, I guess, take it in. I don't know. So if you're covering those up with like this beautiful thing of this lace, light. So we don't know if it's white or what color, but it's light colored. It's this idea of like, okay, well, that's kind of an element of like covering up the thing that you use to connect with others. Kind of like this, like the thing that you use to connect, covering it up just to make it look beautiful, yet not really, like, then you lose that connection. That connection, and it's just about the pretty picture. And it's like so I think some of you guys are dealing with that. Maybe some of you guys have already chosen that path and you're kind of questioning how well you can actually be honest with yourself and honest with those you connect with if you're not able to feel that connection, so to speak. you know, if you're not able to have that sensation of that, almost like that intimacy. I feel like some of you guys, I know this isn't really, I mean, it could be relationship, but relational. There might be some of you guys, like a group of you guys, that this is normally just how you're relating to people, but you might be questioning like, okay, well, when I do this in relationships, in romantic situations, like how much connection is there if I can't really touch with my fingertips and I've just put like a pretty picture, lace picture on it and be like, oh, you know, it's frilly, it's feminine, you know, that kind of like stereotype. Like, are you really being intimate, like emotionally intimate with that person? So I really feel like you're kind of questioning that, and you're looking at the two options. And some of you guys, like I said, have already made choices, and you're kind of surveying like, was this the right choice? Is this really how I'm gonna approach things with people? So yeah, that's really interesting, Leo. I mean, it's good that you're asking yourselves these questions, or coming to this realization, or at least, you know, being shown this realization that this is what you're doing, and is this really the way to rise above? You know, do you really want to portray this image, if portraying this image ultimately means being less vulnerable and less intimate, emotionally intimate with these people or these relationships in your life? So yeah, then let's go ahead and pull from here. As far as action plan, like how are we going to deal with this, right? How are we going to, what is your action plan? How do you see things the most clearly? How do you make the most correct decision for yourself in regards to what you're doing in this for the month of July? Spirit, God, universe, everything I just said, because I barely remember it right now, for the month of July. What does Leo have to know? What's the action plan for Leo for the month of July? Thank you for that. Thank you for the clarity in this. The beauty, like, I mean, it's like, it's almost like this like adornment thing here. And it's, again, it kind of reminds me of the lace. It's like when you go into this hangman, like if you're still focusing on making yourself beautiful and beautifying yourself, are you really in your own space, or are you again concerned with appearances with others, for in front of others? Like, are you really in a place of intimacy to yourself, with others, all that, if that's what your safe space with yourself looks like, adorned and kind of, I don't know, I feel like, you know, concerned with what is thought about you or how you're perceived. Oh, and really quick, so the theme for that part so far is the mime, which is the Page of Spirals, which is the Page of Wands. So it's potential or messenger for this fiery energy. However, in this card, again, yeah, it's this messenger. It's like, how do I present myself? How do I be a messenger of my cause? Or how do I give this energy? How do I, even a messenger to myself, how do I tell myself the right message, you know? And it's like, are you being true to yourself? It's, you know, if you, I always see with this card, it's so funny. It's like monkey see, monkey do. And he's like trying to be that. And it's like, animals are great and their energy is great, but we have our own energy. So we can say, you know, we can combine and get energies, you know, see ourselves as with the animal kingdom. However, to take away our humanity and make it to where it's like a joke, and then make it to where we're just trying to mimic animals instead. Again, what are you being true to your own creation, to who you are, to your path, to what you've been through? Like, are you just miming what you think is supposed to, grief or getting over something is supposed to look like? Are you just miming what healthy is supposed to look like? Or are you being honest and, you know, being vulnerable in who you are and where you've come from, and allowing that beauty and that light in your story to shine? So yeah, that's a really powerful card with that. That was cool. Okay, then yeah, so I already cut this, so let's just do, should we do 3 or 4? I think 4 again. So yeah, High Priestess, Queen of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, and the Eight of Pentacles. So as far as action plan, the High Priestess again is a intuition versus logic, head knowledge versus not instinct, but maybe for some of you guys instinct. You know, it's that kind of energy, and it's knowing when to use what and how to value it. When you know when to use both and you allow both in your life, then you're respecting both energies in yourself. So again, knowing when it's a time to be vulnerable and when's not, when's the time to be logical, when's the time to, you know, in that way. It's funny, like how, I mean, this card, not all of them look like this, but it's just these two look very similar. So I feel like it's like you're supposed to take that energy and put it into, you know, Queen of Pentacles, like to grow your, some of you guys, I mean, this is kind of a business situation. This is a materials thing, but it's growing it, and not just growing it, but really having influence, understanding your influence that you have on the realm around you as far as material and financial. And I mean, Queen of Pentacles is very much like, I kind of call it like a surface energy, where it's like, you know, taking care of creature comforts, like, okay, baking cookies, or, you know, trying to make sure everyone around you is really comfortable so you can affect the energies in that way. So it's like, once you do this, then you might have more confidence in yourself to do this. Because when you're in this place of like, okay, well, how am I supposed to appear this way and that way? You're kind of in your own head that sometimes the Queen of Pentacles type, like taking care of people in that way, is kind of, not deterred, but is hindered a little bit, you know? So, I mean, in some ways, I think you know, once you know when to do what, you know, you're going to be, and once you allow yourself the freedom to do either way, to be okay with grieving and connecting with people that way, you know, taking off those gloves, maybe putting fingerless gloves on, I don't know, you know, once you allow that freedom, then you start, and I feel for some of you guys, trusting in the education that you've built up thus far. Some of you guys maybe kind of questioned yourselves as far as your background and your education and what you're capable of and what you've built. Is it good enough? Is it for you still? You know, do you have to kind of go back to the drawing board? Some of you guys might have been questioning that. But as you do that, you'll start having this energy of taking care of those creature comforts and those financial matters and stuff like that, both around you and in your own life, to where you'll feel more stable in that sense. And then, you know, you'll be able to get out of your head as far as, because Nine of Swords is a lot of times it's like you've put stuff out there, you've put your boundaries out there, or even your thoughts, and you're starting to question, like, is this okay for me to think? Is this okay for me to focus on? Or you're thinking, okay, well, how was that received? After I put down my boundaries, how was that received? Or after I shared this idea with people, how was that received? So it's just like stuck in your head of, I mean, it can be like a nightmares card, but a lot of times it's how are things being received? So whether it's how you're receiving things, how good for your own well-being things are, or it's how are other people receiving you. And as far as, you know, the lace gloves fitting, you know, being in the tips so that it takes away that and just putting this pretty picture, it really feels like it's a how are things received. So it's like, instead of doing that and going to this place of how are things received, not instead of doing this, but instead of doing, you know, the things I was saying over there, you know, you'll be coming into this place of confidence in yourself to know that it's not about how things are received, but rather that you're doing a really good job as far as, you know, you're tending to things. You're, as far as like, especially financial, material, all that, you know, you're tending to things. You're working hard. You're being detail oriented in that. Heck, some of you guys, again, this is another card of like going back to school. Some of you guys will have the clarity in your mind once you clear this up. And once you allow yourself the freedom to do that, you know, be okay in this position and this position, and not judge either way, not pick this only, not pick that only, just to mime what you think it's supposed to look like. Because some of you guys might be feeling pressured to be sad. You need to grieve. You need to, you know, why do you have so much hope right now? What's wrong with you? You know, some of you guys might be hearing that. So then you start going into the mind position of, okay, well, I'm just going to force myself to be sadder than I really am. And it's like, no, just allow yourself. Sometimes there's a time and place to grieve. Sometimes there's a place for, you know, to just emerge this beautiful thing. But understand that those two come together, and it's not about the image you give to other people. And it's, you know, you can have this, like I said, this intimacy in your connection with others, in your, you know, with the gloves, you know, you can have that, or without the gloves, you can have that intimacy. You don't have to put that cover on. But regardless, yeah, once you have this clarity, you'll be able to work on yourself more diligently. And like I said, some of you guys going back to school, some of you guys maybe building your skills up, but it's all comes from a place of giving yourself the freedom to understand that both sides are okay, both options are okay, but you have to be true to yourself. You can't be miming anything or mimicking anything. I hope that's resonating for you guys so far. Spirit, God, universe, what message do you have for Leo for the month of July? Maybe this isn't the way to shuffle. We'll see. These cards are super sticky. What message do you have for Leo? In regards to the reading so far for the month of July. What do you have for Leo? What does Leo need to see, to hear, to receive right now? What does Leo need? Jeez. What does Leo need? You'll have to excuse me. I did a ton of readings yesterday. I've just been like talking a lot, so my voice is like not up to par, but it's okay. Spirit, God, universe. I think I might shuffle the other way because it's not even about the deck. It's just this deck is sticky, and I don't usually shuffle that way anyways, so we'll just do this. What does Leo need to see, understand as far as this message goes? This is so beautiful for you guys, Leo. Like, I mean, the Chrysalis deck in general, their energy. And then this deck actually has a lot of really good, like, Leo fiery energy. I mean, some of these cards, obviously that card. But, oh, and also, this is like his foot's down right there. At least I think so. That's his foot. I feel like part of putting that Eight of Pentacles is, or not putting that, but stepping into that energy of Eight of Pentacles is an element of putting your foot down. Putting your foot down in, you know, you don't have to follow any prescribed, both, I guess, idea of what grief or where you're supposed to be, like what you're supposed to look like in your position right now. It's you be true to yourself and your own healing and who you are. You know, you be that light just because you're being that light and being honest with yourself. Even if that light means shedding a bunch of tears, you know? Just showing the freedom that you allow yourself to do that in the first place. Oh my gosh. Is, you know what? There's two turned over here. I'm gonna pick these. Is just allowing yourself that freedom in the first place is beneficial to others. It shows them that, you know, they can act in that. They can give themselves that freedom. They can show themselves that self-love. You know, it shows them that it doesn't have to be a cookie cutter way. Let's go like this. Yeah, there you go. Vulnerability and freedom. That's so awesome. Yeah, vulnerability and freedom. Freedom to be vulnerable, and vulnerable to a point to where you can accept freedom. You can say, okay, well, maybe some of you guys, you know, you haven't accepted freedom to present yourself in a certain way. You've always had to present yourself a cookie cutter image of what you've been shown you need to do. And it's having this vulnerability of just grabbing the star, like not worrying about if it's pointy, if it's sharp, whatever, just grabbing onto this hope and being like, I'm going to be vulnerable and I'm going to trust. I'm going to like, it's like the full energy. I'm going to trust. I'm going to have open energy to receive whatever's coming my way, because I'm in a place of vulnerability and trusting and knowing that the universe is on my side. The spirit God universe is on your side, and you don't have to hold on to your composure. All your composure has to consist of is guiding yourself, is guiding your own freedom, your own love towards yourself. And you don't have to be this, okay, you have to retain your composure at all times. You know, your vulnerability and freedom isn't just to put you into a place of composure. Your best composure will be being true to yourself, and that will be a light. And look how like parallel those cards are. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you guys, Leo. You guys are in a good place. This in itself is in a good place. It's just a matter of giving yourself that freedom. So yeah, I hope that resonated for you guys. Let me know if it did, what didn't. And let me know, I mean, if, what was I going to say? I don't even know what I was going to say. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, if it resonated, if it didn't, you know, check out other readings I have as well. Like I said, I'll put the link to the site where you can check out your chart in general, and that way you can check out other readings I have accordingly to other signs in your chart. And yeah, feel free to share this. And if you haven't already subscribed, I suggest you do. That way you don't miss out on any of my content. And I do pick-up piles, weekly pick-up piles as well. So, but yeah, so I hope that resonated, and I will see you guys next time.